Aloha, I'm here with Paul Brennan, and he has made this absolutely gorgeous table. And it's got a story to it, so I thought it would be really good to get that story from him.
If ever I worked on wood with a story, it's this one. It's the only tree that I have felt such a special affinity for. It was growing at the end of the carriageway in the Queen's Retreat in Monowili Valley. And in 2005, the owners of the property brought in landscapers after I had requested that they attend to that tree, which had been infested with termites, because we were concerned that the tree might fall and damage the Royal Palm carriageway or the house that the Boyd family had lived in so long. This is a tree that we think was planted about 1870, the same time when the Boyds came to live up there. And they planted the carriageway because they anticipated that there would be opportunities of hospitality for their property. And so, ensuing from all of that effort, the royal family came, and they began coming in the 1870s. We know that in 1878, the Queen-to-be, Liliu, was inspired to write Hawaii's best-known song, Aloha Oi. And this tree would have been in existence at that time. Not that it was so tall, but it was to witness the rather frequent visits by the Kalakaua family coming to this place of healing, tucked away up here in the higher elevations of Monowili. And when the owners of the property said that they had no interest in the tree, just push it onto the side of the road and let it decay, they said, I proceeded to bring in a sawmiller, and he milled the wood for me. And this was the only slab, edge to edge, natural, that I had in all of that wood. All of the others were cut into planks, and I've been able to make, for the most part, tables and benches. But
One of which is at Iolani Palace,
one is
correct?
in the Iolani Palace right now.
Yeah,
And
one of the
I'm honored
benches.
that humble bench would be able to be placed there in the imprisonment room.
Oh, wow.
And purposely, they put it there because they wanted the story to be included in the palace furnishings, opulent as they are. They wanted this connection with the Kanaka Maoli to be able to be present there as well. So if you're taking a tour of the palace and you see all these signs, do not touch, you can wait until you get to the imprisonment room, because finally there's a bench that says, sit on me. I can bear your weight. I can help you to be able to relax and reflect. And so this is a table of reflection. At first I was not going to use this side because it demanded so much work and restoration. I was going to use instead the opposite side, which is without the trace of the termite destruction right down the middle. It has little, comparatively, of the branches which jutted out on both sides. I was going to use that side because it would not have demanded nearly as much work. But after several years of waiting and reflecting, I decided, no, this is the side that tells the story the best, because it's in this carriageway of caring and showering the respect that the royal family deserve to have. It's here that we can best understand the kinds of pressures, the kinds of stresses that the Kalakaua family carried as they sought healing and relaxation in Monowili. And so, to me, it tells the story of Kailua. Kailua has been this place of hospitality. Just by way of background, keep in mind that this tree grew to a height of 144 feet.
Wow, that's a big tree.
And at the base, it had a diameter in the trunk of 6 feet.
Wow.
And what you can see here is that the termites came up through the middle of the tree, which was essentially dead, and they were able to penetrate all the way to this height.
So
And
this is kind of more of the top of the tree, considering.
it would be at about the 80-foot mark.
Wow.
So this diameter of the trunk took place about 85 feet up, and you can see the termites were in progress, and they come to an end right here.
Yeah.
So when the tree was felled, I asked the sawmiller to cut a slab right out of where we could see there had been this discontinuation. And so today we have this tree, we have this piece of furniture.
Yeah, you filled this with resin, correct?
I filled this with epoxy.
Oh, epoxy. And
And
you
it
used.
has different colors of pigments in
It's
it.
beautiful.
Because I borrowed from the coloration which I could see in the branches on both sides. Generally, it's kind of a butterscotch patina, but it has these splotches of red and gold, just so alive. So there was a branch jutting out on this side, and likewise there was one on this other side, and consequently you get so much burl alongside where that was happening, and it just glimmers.
It does. And what about right here? Is that
Those
also?
are just knots where at an earlier stage there was the beginning of a branching, and then the tree discontinued it. But finally then the branching went to a different part of that tree.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I also want to discuss your decision on the bottom here is a beautiful design decision.
Yeah,
I see these legs are quite stunning. As you walk up on the table, every bit of this table is just beautiful. Even just the little support down here. Tell me about your
well,
process with the legs.
at first I was just going to put 4 legs. Uh, I was thinking about turning them on my lathe, and then over time I began to think, no, in the spirit of the pattern of this slab, it should have the same kind of wood grain. And so I selected from the pieces that I still had that I could construct the base, which is solid, and especially its art of nature in the same way as the slab is able to show. And so what I had to do was, first of all, let it dry, and then I could begin to put epoxy wherever I felt I needed to mend the wood, because the termites had left their trail in a very dramatic way. And so I poured layer upon layer of epoxy in those holes, and then I put pigmentation into it, sometimes black, sometimes dark brown, red, burnt umber, all those different pigments that I could get a hold of. And then the real fun was to begin to sand it. What I have here is a sanded piece down to 500 grit. And
Wow.
beginning first with 40 and 60 and 80, and gradually seeing the sheen of the table coming out. What will become of this, I don't know. But
Well, it's a masterful piece.
I know it's one of a kind.
It
I
is.
don't have any others. And the tree is gone. And
Well used, I would say.
yeah, the fact that the palace wanted to be able to put that bench in was an honor. And they will have a sign describing where it came from and this story that I've shared. But now, in a much more dramatic and bold way, this slab in this piece of furniture will also be able to be somewhere, and the idea would be to share it with as large a number of residents of Kailua as possible. But let the story be told for all who might be interested in it.